Good morning, all of you, and we welcome you all for this session on cyber hygiene and well-being practices. So, let me give a brief introduction before we start the session about like why are we observing this Cyber Jagrata Divas. So, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, every first Wednesday of every month, like we are observing the Cyber Jagrata Divas to create awareness among all the users. So this session, like we were doing it to virtual instructor-led awareness program. And like, what is the objective of the Cyber Jagrata Divas? We all know like every day, we were witnessing number of cyber crimes on various aspects, whether it could be an individual, organization, or institution, whatever it is. So to come out of, to at least some extent to reduce those kind of things. So we have started this Jagrata Divas first Wednesday of every month. So objective of this initiative is to create awareness among all the users and all the users of all the organizations, but a limited number of people are joining on every session. So like as part of this thing, like we were organizing awareness workshops, seminars, and interactive sessions, and we are also organizing the quiz competitions on various aspects. So by end of the session, I will be able to discuss these with regard to quiz competitions and all. And as part of our sessions, every session, like we are trying to share like what are the best and good practices with some of the case studies to create awareness on various aspects related to the cyber security, and highlighting the cyber hygiene practices as part of the professional and personal life. As we all having personal and professional life, in both the sides of our life, we should be able to maintain the cyber hygiene practices as part of daily activities. So those things like we were keep on discussing. So as part of these campaign awareness workshops, so series of workshops which we are organizing from May month onwards, every first Wednesday. So like by covering various topics kind of thing. So who are all the people, like all the officers of all the ministries, and especially like MeitY and its organizations, we are doing this. And like what is expected by end of these sessions, at least we will come to know like what are the threats and cybercrime which are emerging from, these are the words like which we are regularly listening or heard about these things like phishing, wishing, smishing, and all. So like we have done a good number of sessions on those aspects, and how people are misusing the passwords. To stop that misuse, like what are the things someone should practice. So those things we were discussing. And financial fraud, social media uses, providing knowledge and safeguarding the digital devices, as we are using the various devices, like as part of our profession as well as personal life, either it could be a mobile, tab, laptop kind of thing. So how do we safeguard them, and managing the security and privacy aspects as an individual and organizational context. Okay, so when we are playing a role as a family member, then like we have to take care of an individual as well as the whole family members. When it comes to the organization, a single member is sufficient to uh, expose the entire organization or entire institution. So that kind of issues which we are witnessing and which we are seeing on regular intervals. So to cover up all those things, like we were organizing various sessions. So today's session, like we are more focusing on the cyber hygiene and well-being practices. So this session is organized as part of this ISEA project, Information Security Education Awareness Project. So which is a project by the HRD division of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. So we have three objectives. One of the major objective is this awareness. One of the objective is awareness campaign to various stakeholders, and training of government personnel. Like we were recently like from last 2 years, we were training the government officials on various aspects of cyber security. Otherwise, these academic activities are also carried out by 52 institutions across India. So these are the 52 institutions involved in implementing this information security education awareness project across the country, including IIS Bangalore and IITs, NITs, state technical universities, and almost all our CDEC and IELTS centers. All these people are involved in implementing this project on under various things like offering academic programs, training government officials, and creating this awareness. So all these 52 institutions are involved in supporting to carry out these awareness activities across the nation. So these are the 52 institutions. For more information, you can always visit isea.gov.in, so that you will get a lot of information about that. And like how do we reaching the people? Like we are trying to reach the people in the direct mode and indirect mode. Direct mode, like by organizing these kind of workshops, like this is one such kind of thing. And indirect mode, like we are having this infosec awareness dot in wonderful portal. You have excellent content in multilingual languages, and awareness videos, presentation, whatnot. All these advisories and all such kind of things are available. So whenever you get a time, so I request all of you, please visit that infosec awareness dot in portal to get more information. So as I told you, like we have n number of quizzes which are already there, and some of the e-learning web learning courses were also there. You can join after the session, and you can enhance your skills always. All right. So this is the with respect to the ISEA. Sir, I request you to check these audio settings at your end, sir. Okay. And this is the portal which I'm talking about. So you have different stakeholders, content in different languages, and you will be regularly getting the daily tips and videos and advisories if something happening in the world, in the in the cyberspace. So today's session, like we are having, as I told you, like a series of sessions we were doing. So as part of the series of sessions today, like we were covering the cyber hygiene and well-being practices. So to deal with this session, like we have with us Indraveni madam, and she is presently working as joint director at CDAC Hyderabad, and she is associated in CDAC from 2005 onwards, and she has wide variety of experiences, and she is into the web technologies like web designing and development, web administration, web security, penetration testing, information security, open source software, cloud computing, and all. Her core research area are involving and coordinating the cyber security and carrying out the vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, and security audit of various IT infrastructure and applications. And she had all these certifications. Of course, like I'm not reading out to all of you. You can go through those things. And she also received many number of awards in her career. So we are very fortunate to have Indraveni madam with us for today's session. So with this brief introduction, I request Indraveni madam to start the session on cyber hygiene and well-being practices. Thank you, ma'am, for joining with us.
Thank you, sir. Very good morning to you all. So, thank you for briefing on the background of the event, sir. Like as discussed, being the cyber Jagrukta device, today we will be discussing about the various cyber hygiene and well-being practices. I hope I am audible to all of you clearly. In case of any questions, you may please drop a message in the chat box. I'll take it up at the end of the session. So, when we say cyber hygiene and well-being practices, as you all know, cyber hygiene is something that we all know. We take care about the hygiene practices in our daily routine things. So, usually, all of us try to map this with our regular the way we take care about hygiene habits. In the cyber world, also, we need to take care about certain things. If not, the results would something be um, in this way. As you can see, this is basically a threat map that I just put for you to give a visualization on. As you see, regularly there are so many people across the globe keep on trying attacks on different regions. Okay, if the cyber hygiene practices are not being followed, these attacks that are being tried out by various people from different countries can lead to attack at our organization or through our system to some other organization. So either we can be the direct victim or we can become the zombies through which they're actually attacking somebody else. That is how the what would be the result of not being following the cyber hygiene practices. So as we can see continuously, there are so many news coming up that ransomware attacks are happening, malware attacks are happening, data being theft out. If the root cause is being looked out for all of these attacks, almost 70 to 80% of the reasons are because of not being following the hygiene practices while activating. Hygiene practices nothing but every organization define lot of policies, procedures to follow, ensure that they have the right security in place. However, though everything is been well documented, the implementation is where there is a lot of lag happening, due to which there are so many attacks coming into the systems. So today's discussions, we are majorly targeting towards an end user, like as a user of the cyber world, as a person who is utilizing the internet for various activities. What precautionary measures I have to take care, how I need to ensure that the I won't become a victim later on. At the same time, at the organization perspective, also we'll just try to map wherever possible to understand from the organization level how do I ensure that my environment would be secure enough. So, with this brief, basically, we will start understanding about the hygiene practices. So, moving towards the issues, as we say, basically, whenever the common issues, cyber hygiene issues, are basically loss of data, misplacing of data, like a data breach can lead to usually see the people who do not maintain the computers. It may lead into, if the systems are not being secured properly, or they are not being tested well before being hosting. In such scenarios, can actually leave certain gaps in the environments through which attackers will be able to reach the system easily and then hack out the data. So this can create a loss of data or a denial of service, due to which the service itself will go down. A data breach can happen. People put lot of data that has been theft into the dark webs and try to sell it out to the unusual people. And the software vulnerabilities, this is one major issue because of non-hygiene practices, where we miss doing a regular updates on our systems, we miss doing updates on our mobiles, on the servers, on the devices that are there across in the organization, like routers, firewalls. The updates are very very important, due to which because of not happening, there are so many a number of vulnerabilities or attacks happening. That's where, if you see, even in the top vulnerabilities, the outdated components is one of the key key issue identified by OWASP also, among the top 10, where because of which various breaches, it doesn't only limit to loss of data. There are so many number of attacks happening because of the software updates been missing out. And one more issue is about the malicious softwares. If a hygiene practices are not followed, it is very easy for the malicious software, could be a ransomware, could be a malware, could be a virus, to come into the system and get used. So these are certain cyber hygiene issues that can happen. To just brief on to, for example, you're walking in your office. I hope most of the people over here are from the organizations only. So let us take a scenario where you are walking in in your office place, and in some corridor you observed a USB drive being fallen out. So what action would you be taking care for that when a USB drive is been identified? Most of the times, if it is in our premises, we consider that it could be of one of our co-employee, and we try to see who will be the owner of this, and we try to hand over the device to them, right? But if you think about whether that device is the right way to usage of the device is, firstly you have to report it to the concerned member in your organization. Even before inserting into the system, and to know who is the owner, inform to the concerned security officer in your organization, because that device could be a malicious device left out by some outsider. It could have been thrown from the outside premises. It could have been intentionally brought in and thrown in your corridors through certain people who come in. There are so many outsiders come in, right? They can be some person who is giving you delivering items to you, or anybody. So never ever rely on any devices that you that you observe, through which there are a lot of chances of the malicious softwares to come into the organizations. So there are various things. So we'll talk about all of them slowly. So, with these issues being the major thing, let us start forming a cyber hygiene culture in our day to day activities, in our regular activities at the private space, even in the office space, official environment also. If we follow this hygiene culture, It would definitely help us in resolving so many security issues and tighten up the screws for any attack to come into the systems. As I initially said, if we are not the victim, we should not also become zombies. Can anyone tell what is a zombie? Maybe in a chat box is also okay. What is a zombie? Replica of malicious software, hypnotized persons. Okay. Okay. So, in correct. Yes, exactly. Like becoming a host, dead bodies. So, yes, these are all certain synonyms which can give us the meaning. When we map this with our regular activities of whatever we do in the cyber world, here the zombie is a system. If your system is becoming zombie means it's a way it is becoming a host for somebody to come and take a path to the actual attacks. So through your system the attacks can be performed. So in your system there may not be any critical data. In many places it has been come out that uh, I don't have any personal data in my any critical data, not personal data, they say any critical data. I don't do any banking or I only surf internet on my systems. So why should I take care about the security on my systems? Why should I still ensure having updates? Why should I take care about having password changes and all these things? So the point there is, though he is not having any critical things over there, his PC can be used to initiate another attack. So when organizational attack happens, it has been traced out. The traceback will fall into this particular zombie system from where the attack is initiated. But actually, this system has been utilized or controlled by somebody else to initiate the attack. So in a way, it is becoming a host for someone to perform the attack. Someone said dead bodies. Yes, it is in a way a dead body only. It is actually not doing what it has to do. This body is being used for somebody else to initiate the different attack. So zombies are the systems, are the weak systems in the cyber world through which the attacks can be pathed or routed to the actual victims. So our job is to ensure that we should neither be zombies nor we should ensure that we should not become a victim. If we try to follow certain best practices and ensure these things are going followed by us regularly, definitely for us being trapped into any of the cyber attacks, the chances would be very much minimalistic. So as these all practices, I'm sure most of you everybody know, I'm trying to ensure that these are being covered to you in a way to by showing the impact. That is what is the main motive over here. So as you see, we are talking about password changes is one of the good cyber culture. How many of us change the passwords? How many of you have changed your Gmail password? I'm sure many of you will not raise your hands. We might have changed banking password because banking website forces you to change your password. But how many of you have changed your Gmail password? How many of you have tried to make different passwords usage? So these are all certain things which we know, but we still do not ensure or enforce ourselves to follow until and unless the system forces us. Basically, the culture should come from us. Nobody forces us to change your password, do not write your password. These things the systems do not tell us. We should enforce them within ourselves so that we follow those practices, right? So if few people have said yes, if you have changed your Gmail passwords, it's a very good practice you're doing. Please continue that, frequently change it. But if not, please make sure that you enforce this as a practice from now on. It is very important for us. Ensure privacy. Software updates and manage end of the systems. Ensure that your systems are up to date. See whether your systems updates are stopped out. Whether are you removing them and trying to replace them with the latest things or not within your organization, even in your personal environments. Are you backing up your data regularly? Are you limiting the users? A simple example is you have a Wi-Fi in your system in your home. Are you limiting users who to be connected to your home Wi-Fi? I'm not talking about office over here. When I say limit users, definitely organizations takes care, and there are places where people create users through a centralized environment where guest users would not be there. And for your laptops, you'll create a guest account and you have to ensure that people whoever comes in want to use your PC, you ask them to use guest users. Apart from all this, now I'm talking about the Wi-Fi. Are you limiting users for your Wi-Fi? There are many people who come in and walk in your home. Do you allow everyone to connect to your Wi-Fi? To the close people, yes, you can, but after they come, connect and leave, you have to do certain things. Are we doing that? Are we restricting outside my neighbors to connect to my Wi-Fi? So these are certain things which we can actually limit and ensure that we reduce the uh, playground for the attackers within your zone, private zone. And ensure to employ the cybersecurity framework. Employing a framework is development, designing, documentation, and implementation is the most important. And then, because of smartphones being used rapidly for using or doing activities in the cyber world, you should know about your smartphone. And lastly, educate. You know all of these things, but are you trying to share this knowledge with others? Are you telling your family equally all of these things? You're protecting your Wi-Fi in home, but if you're not telling your family, do not share the password to anybody, it is of no use. When you're not at home, your family members may reveal it out. Okay, so apart from knowing all these things, one of the culture that we have to enforce is educating others whom we know to utilize or to follow these practices is much more important to face the cyber attacks in the current scenarios. So we will try to discuss these things which are little impact on the certain points. So there was some question, but somehow I'm not able to see the chat option here. Yeah. Know how to limit Wi-Fi users at home or office. Yes, in both the cases we have to limit, sir. How it has to be, it can be done in a technical discussions. But yes, I will try to cover up a little things at the home Wi-Fi. Similarly, same things could be applied at the organization perspective. So we'll come to that topic. So moving towards the next thing, the first and foremost culture about password hygiene. So what is password hygiene? First and foremost, how complex is your password? So the best way to ensure that you force a complex password at the same time you remember it is using a passphrase. So passphrase, as an example given over here, try to create a sentence and then jot down the password from the letters from that particular sentence. This will help us to easily memorize the password because these passphrases are easy to remember. As you see, never judge a book by its cover is my passphrase. And the password from this, I can simply understand that I pick up the first letters and try to replace capitals, special characters, small characters, and use it. So you start and practicing this cyber passphrase thing, you'll definitely get used to it and it will be easier than the earlier passwords. So using passphrase, the benefit is being a complex in nature, it is difficult for the automated systems to crack. I said difficult, I did not say impossible. So, since it is difficult, there is some time that it can still be cracked. So, before that time is arrived, we need to change the password. That's where you have to frequently change your password is the next tip that we need to ensure. Use a passphrase so that it is complex enough for somebody to break in, and keep changing it frequently because basically there is a statistics that if it is only a 4 digits characters you can break the password in one day. If it is only alphabets and numbers, again there is a specific time. And the most complex password with all of these combinations, within 1 month time a password can be cracked. So there are automated systems which can do these activities. But if they are mapping with your regular dictionary words and all these things, it's much more easier. But bringing in from this kind of a passphrases, it will be much more difficult. So having a practice of changing your password once in a 3 months, once in 2 months would actually benefit you in ensuring that your passwords are safe enough. And remember not to use the previously used passwords. You have to use different password for different accounts. Wherever possible, go for a multi-factor authentication. How many of you have enabled multi-factor authentication for your WhatsApp on your mobile devices? How many of you have enabled multi-factor authentication from your Google accounts? If not, turn it on. So wherever there is option, whichever application provides you, turn that on, utilize the services because using multi-factor authentication will stop various attacks that can happen because of stealing your email details. And always keep your passwords secret. Okay. Now, you may be saying, okay, everybody says the same things with the passwords, but still I do not want to change. I'll go for passphrase, but I don't want to change because I'm using the strongest password. But remember, your passwords which you have using since long time without changing might have already been leaked out. It might have been in some database already. That is the reason we are trying to recommend that keep changing your password. If you see, these are certain public forums which paste pins are one openly available locations where if you just go and search for the Gmail passwords, you'll get it. Even I can get it based on the dates also. So these are certain things, they may be live, they may be removed also, but I just put them as screenshots here to show you that there are locations where people just hack the passwords and they just advertise or they just reveal out on the public forums like this. So your password might also be in there somewhere over here. You might have seen news, right? Twitter passwords are being leaked sometime back. Before to that, even Facebook's accounts are being hacked. Before to that, there was Orkut social networking. That also happened. So when all these attacks happened, finally the passwords that are being used in these platforms are leaked already. If the same password which you used in those accounts are used, you are using it for something else today, there are chances that this password is known by somebody else. So it is easy for people to use that and misuse your environments, your personal accounts and all. So it is strongly recommended that apart from having a strong passwords, having different passwords, ensure to change them frequently because they can be there somewhere. So if it is within 3 months, if somebody hacked it, since you are changing, the hacked password will no longer be valid. So your account is still safe there. Okay. And for the passwords, try to not use dictionary words, easy to remember passwords. Many people have a practice of putting their mobile numbers as passwords. And especially for the Wi-Fi's, home Wi-Fi's, I heard many people use their mobile numbers as the home Wi-Fi passwords. It's very easy for someone to guess and identify. Okay, combination of birth years and all, it will be easy. Nowadays, there are so many softwares which can actually, by doing some social engineering, knowing your birthdays, your kids' birthdays, your spouse birthday, anniversary dates, where did you get married, where did you visit, all of these, they just feed to the software. Within fraction of seconds, your passwords will be identified by the tools. That is the reason prefer go for the pass phrase, because from pass phrases nobody will be able to guess easily what will be your phrase. That is a very different complex sentences that you can think of. So there are different attacks like dumpster diving, brute force attack, dictionary attacks, shoulder surfing, and all of these things. So when I'm talking about all this, dumpster diving is something that I just wanted to highlight here. What is dumpster diving? Anybody? These are all old things, but still, unfortunately, today also there are so many people doing the same mistakes due to which the things are going wrong. Dumpster diving is about picking up the data from the garbage, from the trash cans, from the waste bins. Did you throw any of your policy papers in the dustbin recently? Did you throw any of your credit cards just like that in the drop in the trash bins? Then be cautious, they can be picked up by somebody from the trash bins and misused out. What does the policy document have? They have a lot of your personal information. From that personal information, as I said just now, they can be fed out to a software which can guess your passwords. Okay. So whenever you're throwing any important paper, anything very sensitive, it's not important or not, you forget about it. Anything that you're throwing from your files, from your documents, from your covers that you got over the post and all, shred them properly and throw it out so that you can ensure that the data will not be misused. Okay. So even if the cards are being thrown out, old cards, if you're throwing out, break them into pieces and then only throw them, because the cards have the magnetic strip into it. The magnetic strip can be fed by a new data. Okay, so people who do not want to print cards but they have the card data which is hacked out, they can feed that card data into your thrown away cards and can be misused. So do not make your cards being used for another activities. So dumpster diving, brute force and dictionary attacks are related to like softwares can guess your passwords easily. Okay. And shoulder surfing, beware of the things even when you're whenever you do UPI transaction at the shops, at the locations, ensure that you cover your entry when you're entering your UPI pin. There are so many cameras looking at us in the shops, in the petrol pumps, in the restaurants. Okay, so picking up the camera trick and then zooming into what you're keying in during doing the transaction is very easy to guess your UPI pin. So shoulder surfing is very old term. all of you must be knowing about password should be protected. When I key in my keyboard, I have to take care nobody peeps in from back end. The same thing applies to the transactions, because today all of us are using UPI transactions. So I'm trying the same example, that example over here. So these are different attacks. But be cautious about this and take care about the passwords properly. And privacy. So ensure your privacies. So we need to be very cautious while using different things in your systems. So first and foremost, whenever you're trying to go out, whenever you're trying to perform any activities, nowadays there are so many things that has come in the internet that can actually socialize you a lot. There are reels by YouTube, there are reels by Facebook, there is a WhatsApp status which keeps on informing. So it keeps on telling about giving you what I should say, interest to post the data. If you take a small video in your mobile, immediately on the Facebook it keeps on telling, are you interested to post this in the reel. Even if you are interested, since it is asking n number of times, at one point you will tell, okay, post it in the reel. That's it, your information is gone over there. So there is a lot of activities that we do. We are trying to put it in the public places. It includes home addresses, private pictures, videos, phone numbers, credit card informations, and all these things. People are trying to put in the social media, in the online shopping websites and all, which can be misused in the later. Can you tell an example where credit cards are being put into the public sites? Of course, shopping websites. If you have done a credit card transaction in any of the website, shopping site or anything, you please go back and check. Definitely it has stored your credit card in the system over there. It will ask for a PIN for you whenever you do transaction, but card detail is being saved over there. But who guarantees that it is not storing your PIN over there? The PIN, I mean to say CVV number. Credit card is stored means at the same platform on the same page you are even entering your CVV when you did initial transaction. But the system shares that I am storing your credit card number only. You have to enter your CVV whenever you do transaction. That is the one way what we can see on the portal. But what's happening behind it, we do not know. Okay. So I'm not saying do not use credit cards, but try to take precautions. Try to use a card which is having a lesser limit and use it specifically for these activities so that you won't be worried even if something goes wrong with that card. Try to use multiple cards to distinguish your major activities. Your do not prefer going for a debit cards, especially credit cards also with a lower limit you try to use, so that if there is anything wrong happening also you avoid it. Choose the other ways of payments and all. If you're leaving home, if you're going to tour somewhere, while you're going, do not advertise that I'm out, I'm going for a trip. This kind of a things, they're all personal informations. Your privacy you're bringing in out there. So avoid all of those things. And review social media privacy and security settings. Yes, we have to regularly check your every site, Facebook site, be it a Facebook, be it any other social media platform. There are security settings, they ask us to do the necessary settings. By default, unfortunately, they are all insecure settings enabled. Unless you go and turn it on and check, it will not make it secured. It is unsecure because the platform's intention is to know about you more. But considering the privacy policies and things given by the various legal departments, they give a provision that people can set it up. Now they leave the responsibility to you. If tomorrow something happens because of the information that you put on the social media platform, you cannot blame them, because they will tell finally that we have given a provision. You have not done the settings properly in your system. I mean, in your account. So it is again the responsibilities on our shoulders. So we are using that platform. We have to go to the settings, ensure that you enable all of those settings properly, that your information is known only to the known people and all these things. As initially shown, go to InfoSec awareness if somebody is interested. There we have given a detailed information on how do you securely configure your Facebook accounts, how do you securely configure your Google accounts. All of these things are provided. So you can go there and verify, fine tune them so that your privacy is being taken care properly while you're using these my online platforms. So yeah, so there is a point here. Credit cards are now need to be tokenized and can't be stored by online sites as per the RBI rules, right? Yes, it is true. In fact, it is not only today. Before even tokenization, RBI rule says that credit card information should not be stored in plain text anywhere. But unfortunately, there are many cases where it has been identified that the card details are being stored in plain text in the applications. So they are being caught during different audits, and then they have taken a mitigation steps. But see, it is very uh, nobody can guarantee what is happening outside, especially in the public places, especially the locations which is not in control of ours. Our site, we have a control, but when we are using a third party website, we do not know how they store. Okay, the rule says it should not be storing in plain text, but there's nothing. And we have seen cases where, though the rule is saying, though the system is a certified system, still the card details are being stored in plain text, and if at all the system gets breached, the cards can easily be stolen out. So what is there in our cup of coffee is all, even if it is lost, it should not create much harm to me. That is what I can take care about myself. So use a card which is having a lesser limit. Use a card, prefer a credit rather than debit, because debit may be having lot of your salary account and all, because so you avoid using such accounts. That way you can only reduce the impact. One way is we have to completely remove the risk and try to secure ourselves. The other thing is, if I cannot completely do, if something happens also, I should not have much loss. That is what we can think of. These two are the two things that we have to think when we are trying to take up any activity, enforce anything into our practices. Either you avoid it or accept the thing with the acceptable risk. That these two things we have to ensure to take care about the privacy or about any of the hygiene activities. Yes, avoid quizzes, games, surveys on social medias that ask for sensitive information. This is very important. And giving games and all to the kids also, please make sure they don't just click on anything that comes randomly, because just clicking a close button by the on the games also are leading to installation of unnecessary softwares in the background. So monitor them regularly. Be cautious about the permissions that you give on your apps. You have to lock your computers. Okay, and we need to take care about disclosing information on the public Wi-Fi's. Public Wi-Fi, I'll talk again a little detailed. Make sure you do online transactions only on the HTTPS based websites, and you have to share information about online privacies and all with your family and friends to keep them also safe. These are certain practices that are have to be followed to ensure the privacy. I'm trying to stress on public Wi-Fi because as rest of the things most of us are already aware of. I know all of you are attending so many cyber jagrata devices. They are all being addressed must be. So I would like to highlight upon two things. One is utilizing HTTPS. Ensure whenever you do online transactions, you notice these things. Observe for a padlock, observe for a HTTPS. Ensure that you see the certificate details given by the genuine organizations. Like you see here, certifying authorities. These are the issuer names. It should not be a self-signed certificates. And what does it do? Having a HTTPS will actually help intruders to sit in between, perform a man in the middle. Man in the middle means between two systems, between you and your actual site, they sit in between and try to monitor your communications. If you are using HTTPS, they can't see what you're doing on the site. That's the reason prefer to go for a HTTPS websites whenever you're doing online transactions. And whenever you do use a public Wi-Fi's, we need to be very, very careful enough, because public Wi-Fi are very much vulnerable, or it could be vulnerable if you are not taking care of certain things. First and foremost, don't choose a free Wi-Fi's immediately. Try to cross-verify they are being set up by the authorized agencies. For example, if you are going to the nowadays, even the bus stations, railway stations, everywhere the free Wi-Fi's are coming in. When you are choosing, you have to identify or understand whether it is a fake Wi-Fi or a rogue Wi-Fi, or is it genuine Wi-Fi provided by the um, department, by the station or not. That kind of verifications you have to do. How you have to do that, you have to do based on the existing things. And whenever you're going for Wi-Fi's, choose VPN. Simple way is, for example, I'm not meaning to use a big VPN softwares in your systems. Today, if you are using a smartphone, every smartphone which is in the latest Android version, there is a VPN option provided. So before you connect to public Wi-Fi's, turn on the VPN, which will actually create a VPN client in your end systems. And from that to the Wi-Fi, whatever you're trying to communicate, it would be in a secured way. So using public Wi-Fi, make a practice that you turn on your VPN on your mobile devices. Always prefer HTTPS communications on your, whenever you're using public Wi-Fi, access websites or enter credentials or enter anything over the HTTPS websites. But I repeat, it's not guaranteed that every HTTPS site is genuine. Creating fake website even using HTTPS is possible. I'm suggesting HTTPS only when you know that website has to be accessed. If you are entering some credentials, ensure you put a HTTPS. If it is new site, thinking it is HTTPS, do not go and believe that it is genuine. And we need to understand which is a rogue or fake hotspots. We have to, and in your mobile devices there will be certain security settings to stop malicious files and all these things. We need to set those settings properly. Ensure your devices will always have an anti-malware, antivirus solutions. Most importantly, the system should be updated. Be it a laptop, have your updated Windows OS. If it is your mobile device, have the updated latest patched operating system and have an antivirus solutions. Once you have completed your activity over the systems, remember to log out from the application before you disconnect from your public Wi-Fi's. So these are certain precautions. In fact, there are many more that we have to take care. But as a glimpse, at a public place, these are certain things which you need to take care about to ensure that you use the Wi-Fi properly. One additional recommendation I would like to add on is, in case of a public Wi-Fi places, though it is a HTTPS and all, try to avoid doing a financial transactions at least, and use your official things like email checking and all. If you're doing, you do using HTTPS transaction but not with any others, and try to use VPN wherever possible. These are certain practices that we have to follow while using a public Wi-Fi. Now moving towards private Wi-Fi. Private Wi-Fi, I mean to say home Wi-Fi. At your home, you have Wi-Fi devices. Are you trying to make that system secured? Are you following a cyber hygiene practice or environment for your Wi-Fi? First and foremost, change your default router password. Also change the default name, because the default name will reveal the router name. For example, if it is a TP-Link router, the default name you will see when you scan is TP-Link router. Instead, change the name to something else so that nobody knows which router you are using. The reason is router level vulnerabilities can happen or can be exploited by the people sitting around. Use unique and strong password for your Wi-Fi's. It should not be guessed by any outsiders. And if you are the only, if you have a limited people using in your environment within your home only, try to hide the network. Stop broadcasting. In the sense, when I turn on the Wi-Fi, you will be able to see all the Wi-Fi devices, Wi-Fi routers available, right? In that list, it should automatically not show your device. By doing that, you are actually trying to hide your device from unnecessary people. Somebody tries to want, they really know your router name, only then they can connect. That way, if you enable, you are actually you're securing your device from intruders and people, hackers and all who may be around your device. Change the passwords frequently. Change the router's admin credentials. This is again most important. How much ever security practices you follow, if you do not do this, changing the router admin credentials, the default credentials of the routers, if I know your routers make, I can know what is the default admin credential of that. So remember to change your router admin credential immediately after you buy a device, and remember that. And keep your router software up to date. This is important. And always use a Wi-Fi encryption, strong Wi-Fi encryptions. Usually WPA2 AES is as on date, it is the latest strong Wi-Fi. You can use that encryption. And every Wi-Fi device routers are nowadays coming with inbuilt firewalls. Prefer turning that inbuilt firewall on. Okay, so these are certain practices that will help you for securing your home Wi-Fi devices. So moving towards the next, keeping your apps, software and firmware up to date. So it is most important, like from your the next culture that we discussed after the password changes and this ensuring privacy is about having a software up to date. So only one small thing, we all know that we have to make our systems up to date, delete apps when no longer in use and all these things. So only point here is, if at all you have a malicious email or anything, if you have a updated software, browsers, operating systems, they themselves will try to stop you. Otherwise, they will try to, without giving you any alert, you will be able to see the content. With that, you will be able to just proceed with for considering that it is a genuine site. If you have an updated software, the software, your browser itself will stop and tell, wait, this is a website which can be malicious, do not access it. It will show you an alert message. That is why it is very important for having our base system platform softwares what you use in the updated environment. Same happens with the mobile devices. Then there are certain attacks which are more related to social engineering. Probably you all must be knowing. I'll just give a quick recap on these things. Social engineering, these are certain attacks which we keep coming regularly. Only thing what we can do is never click on suspicious links. Nowadays, we all know we should not click suspicious links that come over the email. But today the scenario is never click on links that come over the SMS. Never click on links that come over the WhatsApp, because they have become the main media nowadays than emails. Earlier we used to talk about emails, but now it's important that over the WhatsApp or over the SMS also people are trying to send links and making us to click on them to uh, people to fall into trap of that particular offers and whatever they give. So avoid downloading attachments that come over the emails. Nowadays attachments are also coming over the WhatsApps also. So turn off the auto download option in the WhatsApp. This will actually stop so many unnecessary contents coming into your systems. In the WhatsApp settings you will have an option of media download off. You turn it off so that if you know who sent it, if you want to see it, only then you can click and download it. Otherwise it won't get downloaded automatically. Okay. And do not click on any ads that can actually promise you for giving you prices, offers, discounts, and so on. So phishing, spear phishing, whiling, these are the three different types of phishing attacks. Just the whom it is being targeted, based on that the terminology that we call it will be changing, but the the way the attack happens and the results are same. So phishing is when I target to individual, it is phishing. If I'm trying to target an individual user, targeting a specific user, that is a spear. Phishing is I target a group but send mail to so many people, all Gmail accounts. Like that I will be targeting, that is a phishing attack. I'm targeting a particular group, an organization, all CDAC employees, I'm trying to do a phishing attack. It becomes a spear phishing. Now I target the higher authorities of the organizations, all CISOs of the country, that becomes a whaling. So, to whom the attack is being targeted, based on that, the type of the attack changes, but the core way, procedure, and the results are all same for all of these phishing attacks. Clicking a link, it results in either making me to redirect to a malicious site which downloads malware into the system. It can hack out my system credentials, or it can take a control of my system by using the JavaScript, malicious JavaScripts, and all these things. So these are the results of it. And these are certain examples. Probably you all might have seen things. So this is one scenario I just wanted to brief. Like here you see this is a phishing email that has come to the system. This email is having a link. When I click this link on my, this email, when I'm opening on a system which is having the latest browser updated, the browser stops me telling access is denied. This website is having something malicious into it, and it is also showing you it could be having a Trojan into it. And the same email, if I'm accessing without this particular latest browser on a system, it doesn't show me any alert. It opens like this. So know the importance of having an updated software or browser in your systems. And this is another scenario of a phishing email related to income tax, where you can see everything, the website looks same like an original site. People just try to click the links, means you will be landed up into a site which looks as it is. It prompts you to choose your bank and asks you to start entering your details. So in this way, they give you a feel that you're actually accessing original site. But the point here is they create a fake website and they make you fill the details whatever they want. You see the form that is displayed over here, it is asking all the detail including your mother maiden name, ATM pin, card number, CVV, everything. Whatever you have, you give them, it will be filled, then on it's done. All your accounts are empty then. So be cautious on the links that we click over there. One way is check for the URLs properly. Official website will have a genuine URL like this, and fake websites will usually have IP addresses like this. Don't go with HTTPS. Fake websites can also have HTTPS based domains. And sometimes people are also bringing in websites like this, as you see here in the left box. They put special numbers and alphabets combination so that they look like an original one. ICICIbank.com second URL, where B is replaced with 6. Okay, so we need to verify the spelling properly, the URL properly before you enter anything into any new website that you are accessing in. And similarly, other types of things are phishing and smishing. Nowadays, these are coming a lot. Phone calls coming from people saying, um, I'm from Amazon, I'm from LimeRoad. This way, the calls come in and they keep saying about different offers. They ask us to be online and enter, I will be online, I will be applying this particular offer to you. You please turn on, check your OTP and tell me, I will enable the offer for you. These kind of calls are increasing. Unfortunately, there are so many victims also been falling prey to such offers. So please spread the news. If you know, tell them to your friends and your relatives so that people know that such attacks are happening. Phishing and smishing are related to phone calls and SMS. Through these, they try to make a victim, a user, fall into the trap. Tab napping is another type of a social engineering attack. Again, the goal over here is the same. The attackers want to bring malicious websites to your browser. How they bring it is, there are different techniques. One is the phishing emails, through phone calls, through SMS. Now, above all those things, tab napping is the other mode through which they are trying to bring this to your desktops. That is, when we work on multiple tabs like this, okay, when you try to access different sites, when you are accessing a different tab, at that time the first tab where you have preloaded with a different websites may be loaded with a phishing mail. As you see here in the previous case, my first tab is having a shopping website and third tab is having a news website. When I come back to the news, at this time you see the first tab, it's loading. Now you can see a connecting word, and the moment I go back to that, I see a Gmail login page. This is old Gmail page, but it is Gmail login page. Seeing this, as a user, will be in a feeling that I have opened this website and immediately I try to start entering my credentials. But what we do not notice is the URL. That is the phishing URL. It is gmai1.com, which is a phishing website of the original Gmail site. Okay, so be cautious about such things. To prevent such things, such tab napping attacks on your systems, whenever you return back to your browser, old browser or an old ideally left tab, refresh the tab, observe the URL whether it is correct or not, and when you are doing multiple tabs at that time, avoid doing financial transactions because we do not know which site has what kind of a script running in the backgrounds. To avoid doing financial transactions while having multiple tabs open, and not only tabs, in fact close all your applications in your system and then only proceed with the financial transactions. Then moving towards email threats, all of you know about these things. I just wanted to highlight on certain things on malicious attachments and all. So there are cases where malicious attachments can come to your email box, and you'll have to monitor them, ensure that you do not download them and so on. But ensure that some people also try to send double extension based files with different names which we do not understand, but they are actually a double extension and trying to do different activity. The highlights what are done over here is basically they are seem to be .mp3, but before .mp3 there is another extension in a different way. That's actually a malicious file. So we need to be cautious enough to understand that there are double extension files also in your system and all. So how do you identify them? When you download, also make sure that you know the file name properly. If it is malicious, you should not download it. Again, the same, if you have antivirus, if you have updated browsers, updated operating system, they will stop you from downloading such malicious files. One security tip here is, how many of your systems have show you the file extensions? Just go back and open your file system, file explorer in your Windows operating system. How many of you can see the file extension .ppt, .pdf? Don't go with the icon that you see. Icon is something that you know that what type of file it is. But the file extension and end of the file you'll also have like this .mp3. Are you able to see that? If yes, no issues. If not, please go back and do this setting. Turn on your extensions. You should see and understand what kind of file it is there in your file system. So all your Windows systems file explorer options, there is an option over here. Unfortunately, but default it is like this: hide extensions to know file types. Uncheck this so that you can see what is the file type over there. So whenever you download, usually we will be in a routine activity that by seeing icon it is PDF, I start accessing it. But double extensions cannot stop such things. You can see it as a PDF, but actually it is something else. So turn on this and try to make your systems show you what type of file you're accessing it. And this is about fake emails. Mostly you all know this. I'll just skip this. Access, this is too much nowadays. So many messages are coming with so many malicious things about offers and all these things. Be cautious. Do not click on these links. They take you to a malicious sites definitely. Now moving towards the most important thing, I am a little late, but I'll try to quickly cover. Secure way of using your smartphones. Smartphones we use a lot. We do a lot of readings. We access it for various activities. So as we can see, India is the second largest country in terms of people using the smartphones. How many minutes we use per minute? I mean, number of minutes we spend is higher in India after China. So we should be very much understand the usage of smartphones has increased drastically, and all of these smartphones are actually connecting to the cyber world and fetching a lot of data from the cyber world, be it a YouTube video, be it a Facebook or whatever it is. Very less people are accessing it for only research purpose. 90% of the time spent is on the mobile apps. 10% is on the browsers. You see, the 90% of the time spent on Facebook, messaging, YouTube, entertainment, gamings are increasing a lot. So it's important for us mobile phones to be protected. So there are certain things that we have to take care. So these are the activities which we regularly do, right? Over the phone calls, we read messages, we do phone calls, bank account information we save on the mobile devices. None of the mobile device prompt for a Facebook password because it is saved in the mobile device. That's why it doesn't prompt you for password. Same with the Gmail, same with your email account, official email accounts. It means your mobile device is saving all your passwords. One side we are talking about passwords should not be written anywhere. It should not be saved. They should only be stored in your brain. But smartphones have made us to save the passwords on the devices. How they are storing in the device, they only know. Are they encrypting it? Are they protecting our passwords in the device or not? That is a answerable question by the vendors. But for us as a user, we do not know. So take care about your device. How you take care? Let's move to that. This is something that we discussed. We use a lot of things. So this has a lot of personal information, right? And coming to the device, these are the critical features in your mobile because these are certain things which will have a lot of sensitive information. If these are being hacked or these are being controlled by a malicious app, the harm or the impact that it can create to your individual life will be much bigger. In the sense, for example, messaging, it will have your OTPs, your passwords, your reset codes, all these things. If a messaging your message inbox can be read by your by any of your third party app that you have installed, isn't it easy that third party app can know what is the OTP that you're getting when you're doing banking transaction? If you're sharing a password over the SMS, it's very easy for a third party app to read it. I mean to say, if the third party app is having a control or a permission to access your SMS box, the impact is high. Similarly, if a third party malicious app can control your camera, can see your turn on your camera without your notice, can turn on your microphone without your notice, then it is very easy. Very impactful attacks can happen on the personal lives. Same with the galleries, photographs can be stolen, location, they can track you, contacts are known, they can easily understand with whom and all you are having regular contacts, what are the communications you do with them, all these things they will be able to do and understand from the social engineers. So these features in a mobile device are tagged as critical features. In fact, they are the critical permissions even as per the NIST standards. Now, in our mobile, when all these critical features are there and we are loading lot of apps into the systems, so shopping app, banking apps, okay, social media, galleries, photographs, nowadays Instagram, chat, Snapchat, whatnot, everything has an app today. Even a news reading have an app. Even a music player have an app, right? So how much of these apps are accessing these permissions? Have you ever seen them? First of all, what is the default messaging box in your mobile? Is it the SMS? I didn't put the screenshot, but you can just go back and check. What is the default messaging system in your mobile device? Go to your settings. Um, In the settings, don't go to the apps, you'll have a messaging option. In the Android phone, if it is Android, go to the settings and check for the messaging. There you can see default app. Whether the default app is your SMS messaging app given by that vendor, Samsung, Moto or Fo, or is it the Facebook Messenger acting as a default messaging app? Is it that Truecaller accept behaving as a default messaging? Google Messenger is also there. If any of these are your default messaging, it means all your messages can be read by Facebook, can be read by Google, can be read by Truecaller and not. So when we are installing these apps, what is happening is there is a prompt that comes in asking, do you want to change your default messaging box to this Facebook Messenger? Knowingly or unknowingly, we say yes. When we are saying yes, what is happening is your SMS, a personal SMS that I do to you, is actually going to the Messenger, Facebook Messenger. The Facebook can see your Messenger contents. So be sure what is your default apps for all these things, who all have the permissions for all these things. So give you a glimpse. This is the way you can actually see in your settings apps. This is one way where all your mobile apps are listed. From this, you go to the specific app and from there you can actually see the permissions. So in the previous screen, what I just now shown, from here if I choose Airtel, this is the screen that comes. Airtel has how many permissions? This is the permissions. So the Airtel app has all these permissions in my mobile. So it has the permission for the SMS, contact, location, storage. Understand whether it is needed or not. Camera and microphone, it actually asking, but I've denied it. That is the reason it is in the denied mode. So you have always a control to allow or deny any of the permissions. There is an option that allow it only when the app is in use. Utilize that so that you don't allow it every time. Allow only when the app is in usage. That way you can actually turn on or check your settings, which of the apps are controlling your critical things. This is from app you are checking. Instead, you can do the reverse way also. Go to your permission manager in your settings. These are all your critical things, right? Go to SMS. Now SMS is used by how many apps in your system, in your device? All of these mobile apps are utilizing SMS feature or are actually taking permission of your SMS. In a way, talking straightly, all of these apps can read the SMS that is coming into your SM messaging app in your mobile device. So imagine the impact. OTP can be read, right? Automatically, if your OTP is being filled by Amazon while you're doing shopping, how is it happening? Because Amazon is able to read the OTP that is coming to your message box automatically. You have given the permission. That's why it is automatically filling your OTP. So in a way, we are happy because I don't need to go to the messaging, see the OTP, remember it, come back and enter. But that is something that is genuinely happening. But behind the scenes, what is happening, we do not know. When you're sleeping, what is happening, we do not know. So only thing what we can do, configure them properly, set the settings properly so that they are secure enough. Remove SMS permissions from the apps, choose go to here, turn it off like this so that you can able to control which apps only you can allow. This is something just now I said, if OTP is been filled automatically, it means somewhere the permission is going. So remember to turn it off. While in the installing apps, remember look for the reviews, understand if there are ads, try to avoid them because through advertisements so many malicious things can come in. Most of the times apps are being security tested and they will be cleared and then only put up to stores. But inside that there will be advertisements. Advertisements are not being tested. They dynamically change. So if ads are there, dynamic content comes into the picture. So be cautious. Do not encourage apps installation which has advertisements. Do not download them for unnecessary sites. Pick it up from the genuine source. And look for the unused apps in your systems. You can actually go and check how many apps you have not used since last 6 months, last 1 year also. Remove them if you are not using them. Do not make it full with the unnecessary apps. Ensure that you have your operating system up to date for your mobile devices and all. So this is a quick recap about the mobile usage. Regularly monitor your permissions of the critical features. Avoid installing apps which contain advertisements and read reviews before installing. Download the apps from the genuine link and avoid all-in-one apps for any requirements. This is very, very important. All-in-one apps are too many nowadays. Single app, you can do any UPI transaction, they say. You will have everything into it. Paytm, Google Pay, BIM also they will integrate into that. All of the phone pay, everything into one single app. And that's where is the maliciousness. Nobody will give all the permissions to everybody. So he is doing something tricky in the background, due to which he is trying to show you that he is having everything at the same place. Same with the videos, not only UPI. Same with the video players. Single app for what is it? Entertainment. Hotstar, Z5, all these things in a single app. By doing that, no, they are actually taking lot of your credentials, lot of your control into their hands. What is that you're watching? What is that you're doing? What kind of passwords you're using in this? All of them are being controlled by them. So avoid utilizing such things. Use the genuine links. Genuine links comes from the genuine website. If you want to download ICICI Bank app, go to the ICICI Bank website. There you will be having a link for Android app. From there you will be redirected to Google Play Store. That is the best way to do. Instead of going to the Google Play Store, search for ICICI Bank. It will give you hundreds of apps there. You will not be in a state to decide which one is the genuine one. So the best way is to grow from the original website. That will route you to the right Google Play Store link for the apps. Ensure auto updates are enabled on your operating systems, your antivirus, and all these things. And in your mobile devices, lastly, these are certain things that you need to take care. Bluetooth is something that you need to turn off, and Wi-Fi also whenever it is not in use. At the home nowadays, so many smart devices have come. So many new threats are there with the smart devices. All of these Alexas, all smartwatches, all of them are utilizing Bluetooth for communications, and they are trying to read a lot of personal information from the system. Smartwatches, all of these things have a control on the systems. At the same time, smartwatches also have a web interface where you can actually control how much of access they can do on your personal data. That also need to be taken care. Set time limit and lock the mobiles automatically when it is not in use. Prefer pins, pattern lock and all should be avoided in the mobiles and all these things. And to protect your smartphone, these are the last 5 things which we just now said. And to conclude, these are certain errors or human negligence errors that can cause threats to any workspace. Among these, if you see the second one, leaving your device unlocked. It's not only about unlock, in fact leaving your device on also. The recent attacks that we have heard a lot recently about the ransomwares and malware attacks, the root causes when it been analyzed, finally it is the unhygiene behavior of the users in the cyber environment or in the IT environment. While leaving office, it should be a practice that the devices, the system should be turned off. They have to be switched off. The system should be updated. Unnecessary devices should not be connected to the devices. All of these are regular practices which will actually help the hygienic environment for the office environments and organizational workspaces. So taking care about all these things are not been done. Implement certain policies or enforce certain things to the employees so that these mistakes are not been repeated within your workspaces. And best practices to protect from cyber threats: create an insider threat programs. Mostly nowadays, the insider threats and insider attacks are more. Internally, the banking, there are news where insider, a bank employee itself have utilized the banking portal to do malicious behavior, malicious transactions. Because he is at the higher level, he has certain privileges. So insider attacks are more nowadays. So we need to create an insider threat program, understand what kind of threats are possible through insiders, and regulate those threats by applying the necessary security controls wherever possible. Train all of the employees. Maintain a compliance. There should be a compliance maintained regularly, enforced and implemented. Build a cyber incident response plan. Not only about how do I protect, I should also know how do I report. In office, when I'm working and I see a phishing email, what should I do? Employee should be told about that, how he has to respond. So we have to have an incident response plan, inform the employees what he should do. Update the softwares, you have to regularly back up your data. Excuse me. Initiate the phishing simulations and so on. So in this way, we will be able to protect our cyber threats. Sorry, my voice is gone. So that's it. And this is the website which I was referring to. This has so many guidelines, steps, the steps for mitigations and all are drafted. You can go to the settings, even search it. For example, you want to see how do I configure my Facebook securely. Search for it, you'll get a detailed guideline document. How do you set your Facebook securely? Okay. So this is all about the cyber hygiene practices briefly. So following these will actually help us benefit us in lot many ways. This is a toll-free number where any of the attacks, if it comes in, it'll do. Thank you, sir. So finally, I conclude the session. If any questions are there, I can take it up. I conclude with a statement: make your family and friends also be aware whatever you learned today. If any new thing has been learned, remember to share it with your family and friends so that a cyber hygiene practice is there at your home and at your workspaces. Thank you so much. If any questions, I can take it up. Else we will end up.
Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful session, and it was excellent. So most of the things you have covered as part of these cyber hygiene well-being practices. So, sir, ma'am, like if you have any questions, kindly let us post it in the chat area. So we'll be able to answer all the queries.
I have answered, sir. You come last.
Okay.
All these I've answered.
Okay, fine.
You can last.
Okay, we will share this PPT, and let me show you. Let me show you some of the resources where you can, get download all these things. All right. So no questions. Great initiative. Thank you for knowledge transfer. All right. Thank you, sir and ma'am. So before we conclude,
What are the possible? Some question has come.
yeah, one question, ma'am.
What are the possible threats if anyone hacks the private Wi-Fi? Sir, actually, if they are hacking the private Wi-Fi, they can actually become a proxy in your Wi-Fi. And whatever communications you do from your system, they will be able to intercept, change, and send. If at all you use HTTPS website, they can't see the credential, but they can actually redirect that request to malicious websites. So they're sitting in between, man in the middle. They try to redirect, they try to do SSL downgrading attacks, and try to perform different attacks. That's what they can perform. Then next question, sir. Why we are unable to install pre-installed apps? Suresh sir, why we are unable to install, or you mean to say why we are unable to uninstall pre-installed apps? I think your question is why we are unable to uninstall. Installation, actually pre-installed apps, they will be by default installed. That is the way the vendor provides those apps. We will be able to uninstall them. Basically, you will be able to choose the app, certain apps, and uninstall. But whenever there is a new update coming from the vendor, again that app will get installed. So that is how the vendor actually have fine-tuned the mobile and configured it. So we can't do anything. Only thing is if we don't use it, uninstall them and regularly monitor whenever update is there, that app doesn't come. That way we need to ensure the settings. Whenever we install the app, it asks for allow camera phone calls. Yes, sir. There may be certain apps which will ask for such permissions. So what we can do is we can try to firstly deny. If they do not allow me further usage, allow it at that particular moment. Let the app installation complete if you really need it only. If you feel that this app doesn't need a camera, why is it asking me? I recommend not to use such app. But if you really need the app, proceed with the installation, then go back to the settings that I have shown in the slide. In your mobile settings, go back there, and at the app level, you again deny the permission by going to the settings. By that, you will be able to deny the permission. But while using app, if it is still trying to use it and app permissions are not there, it will try to stop giving you that particular feature that would be there. But yes, you will be able to control the permissions by changing it at the settings. Okay, so that way you will be able to proceed. Any recommendation on the VPN service providers? Sir, actually VPN service providers, we do not recommend anything because one is the open source ones you can always use, OpenSSL VPN and all you can always use. All the service providers that are offering, they only thing you need to make sure is what level of encryption, security encryptions are they following. Based on that, you may choose that, sir. We can't recommend any specific tool like the way we can't recommend any antivirus also. Okay. How safe are the apps by various banks? Okay. Sir, the how safe in the sense the banking apps they do not have anything malicious is what is being expected because the bank itself is releasing those apps. If you are choosing the right app and installing, maliciousness may not be coming. But whether the app itself has been security cleared or not, we cannot guarantee. But banks usually takes care about that. Like if you say ICICI, HDFC, these are all reputed banks who will try to ensure that their apps are secured enough to handle your credentials, to handle your transactions securely. They will do a rigorous security testing, only then they will proceed for hosting. Only thing is through these banking apps malicious activities may not come in, but if there is any unknown vulnerability through which it comes, we can't guarantee, sir. That is why I said not only banks. Today we are unfortunately in a state that nothing is safe. Whatever is there on the internet world, the moment you push, it is gone. Even if you try to delete the profile, if you try to delete anything, it is gone. Whatever we are using on the internet, everything is very critical in a way that it is not, we can't say it is safe or not. Only thing how you handle, how much information you disclose there, how you utilize only matters over there. Okay, sir. So is the DigiLocker all-in-one app is safe? Yes, sir. If it DigiLocker app is safe, but again, go to the DigiLocker app from the DigiLocker portal because there are many replica apps coming in, stating that they are from the government and they are trying to release the apps on the Play stores. So fake apps are also there. So choose the app rightly from the mobile site, from the app site, original site. I mean, I think government network and software applications are vulnerable. Are there no restricted guidelines for department to know live? Sir, actually, there are regulations like regularly the bodies like CERTIN, NCIPC, and all regularly give the advisories and directions to the organizations to conduct regular VIPT security audit. Even CERTIN have also given to instructions to the organizations to prepare a cyber crisis management plan also. So instructions are there, people are doing it, VIPTs are going on, but the attacks, as we said, there are so many zero-day attacks and all coming in, and one more main problem why these attacks happening is because of the control. Today website is being tested and hosted. Tomorrow there is a new requirement comes in, new code goes there. That new piece of code is not being tested. So that's where the attacks comes in. So those practices should be smoothened properly in the organization so that these kind of attacks doesn't come into the systems. So how to identify some apps are vulnerable? As I said, sir, we can sit and find out, like each app can be tested. There are people who do regular VAPT on different apps and identify the vulnerabilities. If you are specific to know a specific app how it is vulnerable, whether it is vulnerable or not, a regular vulnerability assessment has to be carried out on that particular app. By that way you will be able to identify whether if it is vulnerable or not. Yes, sir. As you said, there are advisories, but it is mandatory policies are also there. It has been mandated by certain for every critical organization to do a security assessment and VAPT on the systems and applications. Yes, sir. Okay. So thank you so much. I think I have answered all the questions. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sir, over to
Yeah,
you, sir.
thank you, thank you so much, mom, for a wonderful session as well as clearing all the queries which are there in the chat box. But still, if you have any questions, you can always write at ISEA@cdac.in so that we are happy to help you in this regard. Okay. And with this, like we thank everyone for your active participation